Hey guys, welcome back to day 13 of my 31-day challenge. I am getting a video to you guys every single day, so be on the lookout for the next 20 so days or so. I want to talk to you again about the Amazon jungle. I took a trip there about a year and a half ago to reach some indigenous people deep in the jungle. And I talked about it in the last two videos, but I want to touch on it one more time. We had a travel guide named Adome because if we would have went into the jungle, it's so thick, so many trees, everything looks the same. If we didn't have a travel guide that knew where they were going, had landmarks and all these types of things, we would have got lost and never found our way out. So we had an indigenous travel guide. He took us everywhere, he guided us, and we trusted him for everything. He was our perspective on everything. And his name was Adome. And I thought that was very interesting. And what I found out after the trip is that Adome is the equivalent to Adam in the Hebrew. And in the Hebrew, Adam means red clay. And so the significance of that is, if you look at the Bible, if you look at Genesis, it says God formed Adam out of the dust of the earth. But if you go back into the Hebrew, it will say God formed Adam out of the red clay of the earth, like pottery. And so it gives you this beautiful imagery of how God shaped Adam and perfectly drew him out, right? And the cool thing about that was that the revelation that I had about that is the pottery is created by the Creator for a specific purpose, as a vessel to do a specific purpose. And the revelation God gave to me was that Adome, or Adam, he was going to be that vessel God was going to use to reach his people with Christ. And that was very powerful and really deep and meaning for me. But I want to break this down further, because yes, God formed Adam like red clay, like pottery, and he was a vessel. But the Genesis also talks about how he was breathed, so he had the breath in him. And so Adam was a vessel, and he had the breath of God in him. And in the same way, we were created by God, and we have the breath of God in us. And what does that mean? And if you break it down again, and if you look at breath in the Hebrew, it breaks down to mean spirit. And so it literally means God breathed his spirit into Adam, and in the same way we have the spirit of God in us. What does that mean? We are vessels of God. And if we have the breath of God in us, and we have the Spirit of God in us, that must mean we have the power of God in us. And no matter what situation you're facing, there's nothing the breath of God, the Spirit of God, and the power of God can't handle. So guys, I want you to really dive deep into thinking about how you guys are vessels of God. Think about, you have the breath of God in you. You can release the breath of God and speak life on people around you. You got the power of God in you. You got the Spirit of God in you. You have the power to do miracles. So let's really think about how we are vessels of God, and we really are. And think about the depth behind the idea behind God is in control of our lives. The aspect of, hey, my life is not my own, my life is God's. Because God's breath is in me. He formed me, literally like pottery. He formed me for a specific purpose. He gave me his breath, he gave me his spirit, and he gave me the power. So let's not take this temple that God gave us, let's not take this building. We are just resources to God. I learned something from my pastor this week. God is the source, we are the resource. Let's be the resource for others, but let's give them the source. Let's give them the breath of God. Let's give them the Spirit of God, and then they'll have the power of God to overcome all of their struggles in life. Love you guys. See you tomorrow for day 14 of my 31-day challenge.